All right, welcome to Coronavirus Getting Answers. We continue to provide you with the latest information surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, and I'm Taylor Jacobs. We got some questions for our microbiologist here in just a few moments, but first we want to give you the latest headlines surrounding this horrific pandemic. UMass Amherst 2020 football season has been canceled and hopeful to return to the field for the spring of 2021 for a full season. Also, new Massachusetts rules do go into effect today amid the recent spikes in COVID cases across the state. Also, Western Mass school districts continue to vote on back-to-school plans. Last night, West Springfield deciding on a phased return to in-person learning. Westfield deciding on a hybrid model to start.
In time to start getting answers about the coronavirus from our local expert. We're joined on the phone by Dr. Erika Hamilton, microbiologist from UMass Amherst. Dr. Hamilton, thanks for joining us.
And we're happy to have you. So with the very first question for you, with the college football season looking less likely, we're just talking about UMass not going forward with it. What are the major risk factors for college players?
So anytime you have a sport that's close contact, like a football or basketball or even something like wrestling, there's just no way that the players can play safely and not spread COVID-19 if they happen to have it. You're literally in each other's face. People end up on top of each other. You can't wear a mask. You know, the players really wouldn't be able to breathe that well. And because these are such rigorous sports, or these sports are so rigorous, everyone's breathing heavy. So activities like this will cause an increase in coronavirus being spread. You also have all the things that are touched. For example, people are touching the football, the basketball, locker rooms and dugouts and physical therapy rooms all pose dangers for the players as well. So I know people are going to miss the sports, the college sports for the fall, but maybe it's better that we allow the players to be safe for the fall.
That's true. And would holding classes, speaking of schools or college, outside be any safer when dealing with COVID-19?
Well, it certainly can be, and some other countries have started doing this. Now, you can't do it all day long, obviously, particularly in weather like this. You wouldn't want to have your class outside. But because you're outside and you're not enclosed in a room, you have better airflow, which allows for a reduction in the passage of COVID-19. It does not prevent it. And we can see that in some of the numbers of cases that are connected to beach goers. So people are outside on the beach can still pass it to each other. So you can have classes outside. You still got to remember to wear masks, make sure the students are all not on top of each other and are not in too much close proximity to each other, but it can be a good option, at least for part of the day for elementary school kids or for some college students as well.
I imagine it's just refreshing too. All right, so we'll move on here where the World Health Organization says COVID-19 is not showing a seasonal pattern. What does that mean? Like we got to eradicate this thing or a vaccine's got to arrive?
So seasonal patterns refer to the increase or decrease in something like a head cold or stomach viruses as the seasons change. And we know that this happens. So in the wintertime, late fall, winter, early spring, we tend to have more colds and flus. This is because cold and flu viruses are damaged or hurt by hot humid weather that's happening right now. So this hot humid weather is taking out our flu and cold viruses. We see sort of the opposite with things like triple E and West Nile virus because those are spread by mosquitoes, and mosquitoes are only active in the summertime. So you're not going to have someone catch West Nile virus in the middle of January in New England. Unfortunately, COVID-19 does not seem to be affected by weather in any way. So we've seen all over the world and in our country as well that whether it's cold and dry or hot and humid, we still are seeing a lot of COVID transmission. So COVID is not a seasonally transmitted organism.
Good to know, especially as we head into eventually fall time. All right, Dr. Hamilton, thank you very much for joining us today. We, of course, look forward to more of your insight in the coming days and weeks going forward. Yeah,
tune in, folks, each weekday right here on 1230 as the doc and other pros answer your questions about this ongoing global pandemic.
All right, still